Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to our online teaching academy, and I welcome you all for the science class. This is class 10, biology. We have completed already one lesson, life processes, and now we are going to step into the next lesson. Let me give you a clue. Just figure out what will be our lesson name, the next lesson name. Here you can see the cell divides, multiplies, and produces new cells, right? So this is the basic concept of our lesson. Hope you all would have figured out by this time. This is the lesson, how do organisms reproduce? Here we are going to talk about the different types of reproduction. I've classified them into two broader classification, like sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, you can see the body of the organism gets divided and then they become two new organisms. So this is a type of fission. And here there is fusion. The body of the organism fuse. There is nothing but gametes, we can say. Okay, when I say body of the organism, here we are talking about the gametes, the germ cells. They get fused, and this process you call it as fusion. Example for asexual reproduction: bacteria, amoeba, hydra, etc. Whereas sexual reproduction mostly will take human and other organisms from animal kingdom, right? So we'll move to the next topic. Do organisms create exact copy of themselves? You can see this image here. This is our nucleus. Inside the nucleus, there are small bodies. We call it as chromatid. And this chromatid condenses to form chromosomes. Inside the chromosome, you can see the DNA. This we are going to see in detail in the next slide. So I just draw a structure of a simple cell. Okay, a cell will have a nucleus. The nucleus will have a small spherical body called nucleolus, and there are so many thread-like structure. We call it as chromatid. So this you call it as chromatid. Yeah, this chromatid, when I pull out, when I take this outside, it condenses and it forms a chromosome. We call this as homologous pairs of chromosome. Inside the chromosome, something coiled and just, again, looks like a condensed form here, but it's a coiled tube-like structure. Just now I showed you, hope you all would have guessed now, this is nothing but the double helical structure called as DNA. And now we are going to see the division from here. Yes? We know all this process in a simple process. A single cell, one cell will divide further and produce two new cells. Okay, we call this as daughter cells. Okay, here the division takes place. So simply we are talking about the cell division. Inside the cell, how the body is going to divide, what are the different area of division that we are going to see. So this is the first step of division, and this is the second step of division. Third step, the nucleus will divide. Fourth step, we have cytoplasm. The cell will have cytoplasm. The cytoplasm will divide and the whole body will divide. So this is a method of cell division, okay, the basic concept of cell division. So first we'll see this DNA, how the DNA is going to replicate, the first step. So the DNA here, it is going to replicate like this. You can see the replication. Yes, it's going to replicate like this. And the parent DNA will be semi-conserved in both the strand, and a new DNA will be copied like this. I'm using two different colors so you can differentiate it very well. Now, this is the newly formed DNA, the blue color strand, and this going to discard from this parental DNA. And now this one, I'm just drawing here two different things, just observe. I'll use the same color so you can understand very clearly. This is the newly formed DNA strand. Here also the newly formed DNA strand. And the parental strand we have used red color. So I'm using the same red color. Yes, so what is formed here? The DNA got replicated. This first step, we call it as replication. This is the first step. We call it as DNA replication. Okay, you can see the image of DNA. Now what happened? The next step, chromosome. The second step, the chromosomes. This chromosome, okay, they are going to divide by a process, mitosis or meiosis. We studied in ninth standard about this mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis takes place in the body cell, whereas meiosis takes place in the germ cell. Germ cell, nothing but the egg cell and the sperm cell. So this is the second step. Third step, what will be the third step? I've written in the first diagram. Just check out what will be the third step. Yeah, it is karyokinesis. Karyokinesis, nuclear division. Okay, the nucleus will get divided. So in this, how? Here this mitosis meiosis, I'll show you the image in the next slide. Okay, and how the nucleus is going to divide, I'll tell you. If this is the cell, the nucleus, inside the nucleus will divide like this. This is the nuclear division, karyokinesis. Okay, cytoplasm, next level will be the cytoplasm division. Fourth step, cytokinesis. Here the cytoplasm going to get divided. So the same cell we will take it. The nucleus got divided and the cytoplasm will get divided inside. You can see a furrow developing here, and the nucleus totally they will be in two different things, and then the cell totally will divide and they form two different cells with a nucleus each. Okay, and a nucleolus, and then the all other cellular apparatus will be there in the cell. Okay, so this is a basic concept which is taking place in our cell division. Okay, each cell in our body divides by this method only, and the same process which we are going to see in asexual reproduction, their body going to divide by this process only. So we'll see that in detail with the picture. You can see the DNA. The DNA gets replicated. I told you it is going to form a copy, and it divides by a process what we call it as a replication. Okay, it is a double-stranded DNA molecule. They produce two identical molecules. Okay, once the DNA in a cell is replicated, the cell can divide into two cells. Just now we saw, but after the replication, there are other steps to be followed, like mitosis, meiosis, etc. So this is the first step. We completed this. The next, Mitosis and meiosis. I told you, I'll show you the mitosis and meiosis still more in a clear picture. So we'll see here. So this first figure is mitosis and the second one meiosis. We'll see this from the beginning, how it's going to take place. Here it is totally chromosomal division. You can see a thread-like thing appears. We call it a spindle fibers. And this spindle fibers attach the chromosome, bring it to the equatorial plane, pull it apart, and they become a two different nucleus, nucleolus, cytoplasm. Everything will be divided and cell division takes place. Here the mitosis with the end cell division, the two different cell I've showed. So once again we'll see how well the chromosome are pulling apart. Karyokinesis takes place, cytokinesis takes place, two new cells are formed. Okay, and meiosis, if you take it, one cell will divide further. I'm talking about meiosis. Further, okay, again it divides further and form four cells. This is meiosis. This you call it as diploid. Okay, and here it becomes each cell will have only one set of chromosome. You call it as haploid. Okay, each cell. So one cell will divide further and will give birth to four cells. This is meiosis. Mitosis, if you take, one cell will divide further and produce only two cells, and both will be in 2n condition. What is 2n condition? Diploid. They are diploid in nature. Okay, whereas here a diploid cell will produce a haploid cell. So we call it as a reductional division. And this you call it as equational division. Because it maintains the same number, chromosomal number. Equational division. Okay, next, totally we have seen now the cell division. You can see the image here. The bacterial cell divides, okay, and it produces many bacterial cells. Here this is a mitosis process happening inside the cell, like a onion root tip under the microscope. And here a simple division in bacteria, how the bacteria increases in number. Okay, so next we have come to, everything is fine. The cell is dividing, replicating. Okay, something is not fine then. Even though they replicate, we say that the DNA will divide, okay, like this, and they produce a copy. Who is producing a copy? Each DNA strand will produce a copy, and a new DNA strand is produced, and again they become a double helical structure, right? And here what is happening? Some error in DNA copy. Error in DNA copying. That error leads into variation. Okay, each and every organism have this error. The blueprint of the DNA will not be the same of the parent, the new strand of DNA. What message they are copying from the parental strand will not be the same. There is an error in DNA copy, and that error we call it as variation. This variation, if you see, it is very less, least or negligible in asexual reproduction, and it is more in sexual reproduction. Okay, importance of variation, we do have importance of variation. This variation will give a survival advantage also. Example, in bacteria, it is giving a survival advantage. Okay, this bacteria can live even in the hot spring as well as in the cold, very cold Antarctica region also. Okay, so what is variation? In a glimpse, any change in the genotype. So when I say genotype and phenotype, genotype is nothing but the genetic makeup. Genotype is the genetic makeup of the cell. To the DNA level we are talking about. Okay, if there is any change in the genotype or in the phenotype. When I say phenotype, the physical appearance. So if there is any change in physical appearance, how it is happening? It's all because of the genetic makeup. So whatever change, either physical or the internal or the genetical, everything because of the gene variation only there is a change, and that you call it as variation. Genotypic variation can occur as a result of changes in the genes. Okay, what is mutation? Sudden change in the gene. Okay, or any of the element, the chromosome may get damaged, or any change in the number of the chromosome, that may also be the result in the variation. Okay, not only mutation, even the chromosome level, there will be a change. Next, phenotypic variation, if you take it, it is temporary. Some organism, due to weather, they may change their body. Okay, even chameleon, if you take it, they change the color, but it is not permanent. Okay, some changes of the physical appearance may not be permanent. It varies. Okay, and it is not constant also. Even skin color, if you take it, when a person exposed to hot sun, he become tan, and later he will gain back his own color. So the physical variation is not standard. So in next class, we'll see in detail about asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Thank you.